37 member of the zoning committee of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has concluded its sitting on the party's zoning arrangement but has refused to disclose its decision. The chairman of the committee, Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State, will brief journalists at the end of the committee's meeting in Abuja. He says that members of the committee have reached a unanimous agreement on the matter. He, however, declines to speak on what the position of the committee is. He says a report will be forwarded to the National Executive Committee of the party. Take a listen to Governor Samuel Otom.
As you can see, flanked by the 37 members of the PDP Zoning Committee for 2022, we have just concluded our meeting after we rose from our meeting last week and decided that today we will meet. And by the grace of God, we have unanimously adopted a position that will be sent to the neck of our party that appointed us. So the good news for our teaming supporters of the PDP and Nigerians is that we have resolve, and every one of us, the 37 members, unanimously adopted the position we are going to present to NEC.
Well, the PDP zoning committee led by Governor Otom was inaugurated by the party on the 24th of March 2022 by the National Working Committee following the controversies surrounding the party's arrangement for the presidency ahead of the 2023 general elections. The committee, which has the responsibility of ensuring fair distribution of the party's elective offices across the country, as Governors Darius Ishaku of Taraba State and Ifeanyi Igwanyi of Enugu State, the minority leader of the House of Representatives, Mr. Honorable Ndudi Elumelu, former governors, lawmakers, and other party stalwarts as members. We now have to wait for the outcome of the report of that committee to be released by the NEC or the National Working Committee of the party. Tonight, we discuss the implications of this zoning arrangement, which has become a big dilemma for the PDP and is confronted with that reality and how it can get past that dynamics. I'm being joined tonight by Mr. Kasim Afegbua, a former presidential spokesperson for the PDP and the Atiku campaign organization in 2019 election. And also with me is Ilemona Onoja, a lawyer and a member of the PDP. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming tonight.
It's a pleasure having us. Thank you.
I know you guys must have been hearing something from the 37-member committee. What are you hearing? What do you think that, because they said they will not disclose it and given the report, what are you hearing?
I think the report is already out there. I've seen snippets of the details of that report, you know, because one of the persons who called me this evening was a supporter of Elijah Atiku Abubakar, who was saying, oh, we don't win. I said, what have you won? He said, have you not heard the report of the zoning committee that they are trained open the terrain? I said, if they throw it open, if that is their decision, no problem. We'll go to the primaries and slug it out. But, you know, and I reminded her that it's not about throwing it open. The point is, the party has a constitutional provision. If you are jettisoning that particular provision of the Constitution in Article 7, Section 3C, then make it so that the idea of zoning positions or rotating positions on the presidency will not, you know, come to play in PDP. We will know.
What does the constitution of your party say about zoning?
It's about rotation.
Is it specific?
Yeah, it's rotation between north and south. It's stipulated there. So if they are not doing it, they are trying it open. That means you are leaving the party.
Though, right? So it's not specific. You're a liar. Talk about it.
It's not specific.
What did you say?
It speaks about the rotation. It speaks about zoning of offices.
Yeah, rotation of offices in line with equity, fairness, and justice. Those words were captured.
Okay,
that's how it is written.
But if you, so you must ask yourself in this question, in this circumstance, what is equitable? What is justiciable? What is fairness? If you take into consideration that the last elected president on the platform of the party was from the South, is it unfair? I mean, you have to ask yourself certain questions. But my fundamental, and it's a position I've taken on your show several times, Sean, my fundamental position is that at this point, really what we should be discussing is how do we win this election? It's the fundamental issue for the political party. Give your candidate, give the candidature to the person who will spearhead a charge, the most likely person to win an election for you. Give your candidature to that person. Zone the offices that support that person, and then go from there.
Where does it look, I mean, more certain for your party? Which zone? Is there any particular zone or personality that looks more certain for your party? I'm asking you that where does it look sure for your party to get a candidate that can win an election for it?
My personal opinion is from North Central. Personal opinion from North Central. And it is an opinion that is shared by millions of people across the country. Personal opinion, personality, Dr. Bukola Saraki, he fits the bill easily. Not only that, he's struck a chord that many candidates have missed for a while. Many aspirants have been missing. We cannot win this election if you don't have a party machinery that is united, that is focused, that is cohesive. It's the first thing that we need to do. That message that he's been preaching for a while, message of unity, it's not just one that the party needs, it's one that the country needs, really. So for me, easily, given the ticket, let's go to an election.
Let me give our viewers a sense of what it has been in this country and how, I mean, a lot of us are familiar with the political permutations or the political mappings as far as zoning and rotation of power is concerned. Let's take a look at these various snapshots, this map as put together by us here, and just a reflection of what it's been from 1999 up to date. Now, we've had it from the beginning. We had an Olusegun Obasanjo in 1999 who took over the helms of affairs. So you see, and the arrow points on how it's gone. So overall, from the north, we've had 10 years, 7 years now of Muhammadu Buhari, and 3 years of Yar'Adua. Now, we've had 8 years of Obasanjo and 5 years of Goodluck Jonathan, making 13 years. Or if you look at it, it's been Obasanjo from Ogun State, southwest, to Umaru Yar'Adua in Katsina, northwest. From Yar'Adua to Jonathan, south-south, in the south, to Muhammadu Buhari from the same Katsina state. It spent 70 years. Hopefully, it will conclude its term. If it makes it 8 years, that means the North will have had 11 years since 1999, and the South will have had 13 years. Let me get your view, Kasim, on this mapping.
It's not just the issue of mapping. When Ilemona was speaking now, I wouldn't expect him to take a different position because he's from the North Central zone. But those persons, those who are the front runners for zone to the north, or who don't want to respect the zoning arrangement within the PDP as encapsulated in the Constitution, are the same persons who killed PDP in 2015. They pulled out of PDP and supported APC. When they couldn't find their rhythm in APC, they came back to PDP. So they were given an opportunity to contest in 2019. So you see, defectors who sought to the death, quote unquote, of PDP are the same people who have come back to PDP. When they stayed in APC, they saw that there was no room. They came back to PDP and they are still dominating.
But you went to APC and you're back.
No, I was serving a government in APC. I was part and parcel of APC. I'm not contesting election under PDP. I left APC and I told everybody, even on your channel station here, that what was captured in APC manifesto was not what they were implementing, and I'm leaving. And I left in 2017. So I didn't say I was contesting issue based on zoning.
No, I'm just emphasizing the fact
the point is,
people have freedom to move, isn't it?
No, listen. People who have stature in a political party, 7 persons left PDP in 2015 on account that Goodluck Jonathan was not respecting zoning. They left in anger, protestation. Now they are back to PDP. They contested in 2019. They were allowed to contest the primaries. Now in 2023, they still want to say zoning is no longer important. It should be about throwing the floor open for everyone. So I don't have a problem with that.
I would like to
I have said, let me finish.
Okay, I apologize.
I have said that once this zoning is thrown open, go back to your constitution, remove that particular clause. Let us know that PDP does not speak about zoning in their constitution. Then we will understand.
If the party throws it open, isn't it a way of the party understanding the intricacy of the time and the sensitivity of the time? I mean, if the zoning committee had gone to the north or to the south, I mean, throwing it open, I mean, we are still speculating now because the party has not officially come out with the position of the zoning committee.
You see, Sheung, the point is this. Throwing it open or allowing it to go to the south, anything. We have heard from those who participated, they've already spoken to their people, we know that they are throwing it open. I said from day one when I came to this platform that they are working from answer to question. Because the mere fact that you set up a 37-man committee, I said it, 20:17, the thing will be skewed. Anyhow, it's
Against
already
the South.
Yes, it was already skewed. But no problem. They are now saying throw it open. Remove that provision in the Constitution. Because if someone goes to court tomorrow and insists that the party refuses to follow the dictates of his Constitution, such a person will have a good point to argue.
I need to go to Ilamana, but let me ask you this question for clarity, just for a moment.
Yeah.
Isn't this, I mean, there is a vacuum. If the party throws it open, the constitution of your party does not envisage being thrown open. It envisages
rotation.
A decision, a decisive decision
rotation.
On a rotation, whether to the south or to the north. Good. But when the party says we are throwing it, anybody can come to the race. Can you hold a party here?
That is against the normative order as captured in the constitution of the party. Why do you have constitution in place? It's to guide your activities.
Ilamana, please come in.
The party constitution says on the basis of justice, equity, and fairness. Discuss justice, equity, and fairness, if you will. Or you can discuss the contention of a lot of people that what we just need now is a competent person to take us to the elections. Hold on. Let's discuss equity and fairness and justice. In 2011, a group of people said, hold on, this man just was president of the country for 2.5 years. He died. He was from this part of the country. That part of the country should continue to produce a president. The contending argument, which eventually won, was, hold on, the occupant of the office is already in office. It would be, almost unconscionable to ask him not to run. Remember, there was an agreement that he signed, that said, I will only run for 1 term. Right? In 2015, remember again, that people did not complain about zoning. They complained about the undemocratic practices in the party. My older brother will remember.
No, they complained about zoning.
Let me finish. My older brother will remember that at the time, only 1 set of forms were printed and given to 1 candidate. It was the undemocratic practice that they complained about. I have had the privilege of running around the country with Dr. Bukola Saraki, as he has sought, as chairman of the National Reconciliation and Strategy Committee, to put the party back together. One of the biggest complaints that we have received, north to south, east to west, is exclusion. When you manipulate the rules to exclude people from giving their best to the party. That's what people are trying to do. Now, let me finish. One final thing. Listen, Sheung, our country is the worst run it has ever been in our history. Poverty, we're the poorest we've ever been in our national history. Poverty doesn't know whether you're from the north or the south, right? We're the most insecure we've ever been in our national history. Insecurity doesn't know whether you're from the east or the west. We're the most unemployed we've ever been in our national history. Unemployment doesn't know whether you're Christian or you're Muslim, where you're from. These things plague us. What we are saying is the Nigerian people are in a place where they are looking for a leader. Allow us. I'm not saying, listen, Shion, Competent people are in the north and the south, the east and the west. Let that be the criteria with which we choose our next presidential candidate. We've tried it differently before. It hasn't always worked. It doesn't matter to me if the person is from the north or the south. Let's talk. How can he put food on our table? How can he give us jobs?
Politics is science.
Really
Just a moment. Politics is science. And I want us to talk scientifically right now. The map in which I showed earlier, when we're talking about equity, fairness, and justice, I want us to speak to that map and how your party can be able to live to the bidding of the dictates of its own constitution.
If we're sticking to the science, as you can see in that map, I'm sorry, yeah? But realistically, I'm a member of the People's Democratic Party, right? So I'm not going to countenance Muhammadu Buhari. He's not on the platform of my political party. He simply isn't. We had no say. If anything, 13 million of us went to the polls in 2015. 12 million of us went to the polls in 2019 to say 27 million combined votes to say Muhammadu Buhari shouldn't be our president. Why should we use that to determine? So if we're speaking to the dictates of our party constitution, there's 13 years in that map. 13 years. There's 16 years in that map. Of the 16 years, 13 years have come from the south. That is the equity that we should be talking about. That is the fairness that we should be talking about. That is the justice that we should be talking about. If not, really, but then from my position, I'm saying that, let's not even talk about
the same map and the science of it. Yeah. Let me allow Kasim to speak to the map, Kasim.
You see why I'm laughing?
Why are you laughing?
You see, politics has become, so polarized that you look at issues from your microscopic prism and want to use that to justify. Is Muhammad Buhari the president of Nigeria? Is he the president of the APC?
Can you bring back the map? Let's Kasim in his own time also be able to speak to it.
Is he the president of the APC? He's called President Muhammadu Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. So are you going to tell me that we are insulated from the policies and programs of Muhammadu Buhari in the last 7 years? No.
So your party should countenance it.
Let's see, we are part and parcel of the misgovernance of Muhammadu Buhari. We are bearing the brunt. We are suffering from bad policies, bad policy implementation, and what have you. The insecurity he mentioned, the unemployment, the job losses, and all of that are products of the misgovernance of a president who has not been able to live up to his bidding. Now, do you take that one away? His 8 years, we're spending 8 years in 2020 this year. And you want to tell me PDP has not been part and parcel of whatever that is happening? No. PDP is a party. Political party gives you a platform to contest for votes among the 84 million registered voters. If in the process you win, that vehicle becomes secondary. What becomes primacy is the country. And your sense of patriotism should be to the country first and foremost, before you defer to your party where you want to...
So your argument...
my point is that there will have been 11 years in the north, 13 years in the south. But I don't want people to start narrowing down themselves to the politics of 1999 to 2023 or 2022 as if that is the beginning and end of Nigeria. This country is an independent country. 1960, October 1st, we became independent. In 62 years of our governance history, power has remained in the north for 48 years. In all those years, we've only had 14 in the south. And you come here and you tell me that you are talking about equity, fairness, and justice and all of that. No. You see, the point must be made and made clearly that in 2019, the southern aspirants allow every aspirant of the PDP to be from the north. Alhaji Atiku didn't win the election. Fine. Now you are asking that it should be to the north again. Haba. If they don't, somebody told me, because they didn't win. So 2023, if they didn't win, 2027 we'll still leave the party in the north.
Do we have
meanwhile, meanwhile, there were persons who pulled out from the party in 2015 because the president was not, you understand what I'm saying? The president was not following the zoning arrangement. They left. There were documentaries, played, the meetings that were held with respect to zoning. All these were captured in PDP's NEC meetings. Now, in 2019, no problem. It was convenient for them. In 2023 again, shouldn't they show some level of reciprocal love and affection that, okay, it is the turn of the South to produce a candidate? We're not talking about winning yet.
Should we be bothered about where anybody comes from?
Yes,
what should play prominent is it zoning or competence?
I think we are missing something.
I'd like to address
in the algorithms of power, and to balance equation. For a plural society, if you don't have equity, justice, and fairness, you have protestations, agitations that will help to polarize the country. And in the final analysis, you will be unable to deliver on your campaign promises. Don't forget the agitations in the Southeast. Why are they agitating? Because they say they are not feeling that sense of inclusion. There are agitations in the Southwest, Odua Republic and all of that. There are banditry, there are contestation, even the Middle Belt. I said that in this democracy they've not participated. These are because you are not following equity, fairness, and justice in the way you dispense with rules and regulations that are captured in your constitution.
Let me allow
now they want to take it
just
into
a moment.
I'd like to address certain things.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to address certain things. My brother has made certain references, people who left the party and came back. They came back to the party 4 years ago.
Doesn't matter.
In the 4 years since they came back to the party, I will not even speak for they. I'll speak for one person. In the 4 years since they came back to the party, has actually spent 2 years of that as chairman of your National Reconciliation and Strategy Committee, running up and down, trying to reunite the party that has been divided in many places by exclusion.
By him.
Let me know, it's not by him. How can you say it's by him?
No, defectors, where defectors come?
I will tell you something. For instance, Borno State, they had a Supreme Court case matter. They had a matter that went all the way up to the Supreme Court since 2017. Primary help in resolving it. Ogun State had matter since 2010, 2011. Primary help in resolving it. At that time, why didn't we tell him, no, you're not good enough to be a help to resolving the party or reuniting the party because you're from the north? It makes no sense.
But it's not the only one.
I said I'll speak to one person.
No, you can't say one person.
Let's speak to
everybody.
You're speaking as a member of the party tonight.
Let's speak to everybody.
Even that Reconciliation Committee has
and they are looking for consensus within the north.
That's fine. Let's speak to everybody. Right? You've said very eloquently about the issues that plague our country. You've spoken about them. Right? At what point do we pay credence onto the need to resolve those issues? Are we going to say that if we have people who have the competence, the character, the content to do so, we should not consider them because of the language that they speak?
We just have a few seconds to close now. Just a moment. And let me ask you,
we have to say
what is the implication of, should your party decide eventually to throw it open? Just in 30 seconds, what is that implication for your party ahead of 2020?
What our party will be saying if they decide to throw it open, when they decide to throw it open, is that they will be saying to Nigerians, look, we're resolving our national issues first. There's content, there's character. Let the content, let the character, let the capacity, let the ability be our primary determining factor, rather than the language you speak, rather than the God you worship, rather than the part of the country that you're from. Let that be our primary determination.
Just 30 seconds.
Yes,
what is it? Yes, because the bigger picture is the general election.
Don't worry. If Nigeria were to be that, solid, were to be that equitable and all of that, we won't be talking about issues of nepotism, cronyism, selective amnesia, favoritism, and what have you. So when people talk, I bother whether it is not the same Nigeria that we are in. The country, the sense of ownership in the country is skewed in favor of certain zone against the other. That is the honest truth. Let us look at issues and look at persons, eyeball to eyeball, and tell them the home truth. The one that is bitter that they don't want to hear. The truth of the matter, power has remained in the north for 48 solid years. In this country and under a democracy, we need to balance the algorithm so that we can begin to look forward. Otherwise, you are going to be cultivating problems, pocket of crisis here and there, which will stop you from...
For a party that has lost election consecutively 2 times, I think it's critical for your party to think about how it goes forward from here. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. Lemona Onoja, a lawyer, I'm a member of the PDP, and Prince Kasim Afebua, also a chieftain of the PDP. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming.